the thing is, Ronnie, when you watch it as a kid, you think the movie is about
your mic,
what?
dude. Again,
Well, hang on.
Again with the damn mic.
When you watch The Wizard as an adult, you realize it's about Bo Bridges dealing with kids.
You're going in and out. You're going in and out.
Oh, God. I mean, it's every week with this shit, Ronnie. It's the same thing every week. Every single week. Can you get Davey the intern in here to fix this?
Guys,
every week it's the same thing.
So here we go. Here's Davey the intern.
Oh, hi. Yes. What seems to be the problem, Blake?
Well, I mean, nobody can hear me, Davey. And look, I ain't trying to sound like an asshole here. Ronnie, edit all this out for me, please. But it's the same. It's the same thing every single week. Why isn't the mic working?
Well, it could be your sunglasses, but let me see here. I want you to put your finger on top of the microphone there. Just put your finger on top of the microphone. That's right. Yep. Now, could you please just repeat after me? Mari.
I mean, Dave, I don't know if this is a joke to you, but if you want college credits, you'll fix the goddamn microphone.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to fix the microphone for you.
Holy.
No. Holy. It's very important that you do this.
It's got to be on the very top.
That's correct.
Holy.
No. So you're not doing it. Fucking hell. You're not doing it right. Okay. Let's try something else. Fucking idiot. Could you maybe take your left kneecap and just wiggle it around a little bit? Just,
I've had quad surgery twice. What does this got to do with the MF and microphone?
It's got everything to do with it. Look, is that a Blue Yeti?
Yes, it's a Blue Yeti.
Have you heard it roar yet?
I don't know what that means, Davey. I don't know technology. I plug the shit in. It should work.
It's a Yeti. It's a Yeti. It's supposed to roar. I'm telling you right now. It's supposed to go. That's what I was trying. The hula is the mating call that you give the microphone. And then the Blue Yeti yells back at you. And then it tells you whether it's plugged in. Is it plugged in? Do you know if it's plugged in? And then once you figure that out, then it will work.
It wasn't plugged in.
Okay, there you go.
Hey,
thanks, Davey.
Thanks, Davey. Appreciate it, man.
We'll see you next time. But what I was saying is Bo Bridges has 3 retarded sons in the movie The Wizard. That's what it's about. It's not about kids trying to play video games in California.
Around the clock, we're gonna rock to the rhythm of the street, up and down the block. Around the clock, we're gonna rock the dreams you give with the streets could talk. Wanna be somebody, be a contender. Gotta reach for the sky. If you want it, fight for it, or kiss it goodbye. It's make it or break it. Try to survive. Don't ever say never. Keep your dream alive. Around the clock, we're gonna rock to the rhythm of the beat. Up and down the.
He's Blake. I'm Ronnie. All the good names are taken. Podcast. Thanks to our intern, Davey. Blake, we're back. Summer series. Patriotic. Summer movies. Last year we did camp movies, Blake. Guess what we're doing this year? More camp movies, more summer movies. Yes. And we're kicking it off with one of my personal favorites, Meatballs 3, Summer Job.
Yeah, I always get Meatballs 2 and 3 mixed up. I love both those movies, by the way. But I don't know how young I was when I first saw this, but I will never forget salami in the pants. Like, that's all I associate Meatballs 3 with. Guy had a salami in his pants. She pulled it out.
Stars Patrick Dempsey, McDreamy from that hospital show that I don't know the name of.
Yeah, and Scream 3.
Scream 3.
Thanksgiving.
Right, Thanksgiving. He was a killer in Thanksgiving. Edit. Blake, salami is what I remember from this movie.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid either watching this on USA Up All Night or watching this on HBO, wherever I watched it. I remember the scene where the bullies go, "Hey, salami," and they throw a huge salami down the deck towards him. I really like this movie. I've always had a fond spot for this movie. I know you're not believing me right now, Blake, but hold on.
I love how like you throwing hey salami throwing a salami at somebody and that equates to you loving the movie and have fond memories of it. I love that's where you go with that. That's just such a warped effing mind. Wow, the VHS. Look at you. And Ronnie, I just got a VHS DVD combo player. So whenever you want to watch that bad boy, come on over.
We'll definitely watch it. Blake, I know I said it's patriotic season, but it's hurting my head. And the sunglasses are your gimmick, so I'm going to have to take it off. But anyway, Meatballs 3, it's great. Now, for some of the classier fans or classier movie watchers, you may think, hey, this movie's not very good. It sends a bad message. We will talk about all of that today. But Blake, we found a copy on YouTube.
Yeah.
And
free.
I sent you the link. Free. I sent you the link for it. It wasn't the best quality as far as being blurry, but it got the job done.
Hey, do you mind reading the back of that VHS? Would that be a big deal?
No.
No, I want you to read it, Ronnie.
Yeah, I was just showing like all these like physical media, all these physical media guys that have the channels. They're always like just showing the thing like this right here. So
now, the guy we had on in the beginning, like he claims to do voices. Can you do your best voiceover while reading this?
Oh, yeah, I'm a pro. This time, our perennial nerd Rudy is up the creek without a paddle, taking a summer job at a marina. He faces his biggest challenge yet, the conquest of the sensational love goddess, played by playmate Shannon Tweed. But Rudy's got to overcome the ruthless leader of a waterborne band of bikers, humongous Mean Gene. As luck would have it, his pleas are heard by Roxy DeJour, played by the fabulous Sally Kellerman, the zany spirit of a deceased porno star, out to win her wings to get into heaven. Roxy materializes to help Rudy with his dilemma. Now the outrageous fun begins in this crazy new edition of the smash hit comedy. Fun fact, Blake.
I'm excited.
Fun fact, Blake. This was the first true sequel to Meatballs. Meatballs 2, a different movie. It was supposed to be something else. The studio bought it and made it Meatballs 2. Right. This one was written specifically to be a movie called Summer Job. And then it was bought and they went back and rewrote it to add in the character of Rudy, which for the longest time, Blake, because I've never seen Meatballs 1. I didn't know that Patrick, whatever his name is playing Rudy from part 1. And that's the reason he's going to this marina to meet Tripper. Before we get into this movie, though, Blake, you're starting summer the right way. Tell us about this new background. What is going on here? You at Jay's house?
Glad you asked, Ronnie. Yeah, I'm at Sleazy's house. Listen, it was a week-long project. We cleaned out the storage building, did some rearranging, moved all the bullshit that my wife hates out of the house and into the storage building. And the real test was, will the router stretch the internet all the way out to this building that I have on the back part of my land? So far, so good, right? No skippage, anything like that?
No.
So, yeah, we still got some work to do. Luckily, I'm not going to play the gimmick. You came through. You gave me the 2 posters for the background. We got Kurt Russell. The cow is hidden up here. He's made an appearance every video. I got the movies, just like the other YouTubers up here. I got the effing toys that I'm proud of, just like the other YouTubers out here. I got the sports shit, I got the beer right there. I got everything, Ronnie.
On this viewing, because when you text me, you were like, man, that was a rough copy to watch. Do you still have the same opinion for this movie, or do you think it's worse than your initial watch of it?
I think it's worse. I was about to ask you, which do you prefer, Meatballs 2 or Meatballs 3? And I think I prefer Meatballs 2 over Meatballs 3, but that's not saying that I don't like this movie. I do like this movie. And I like the message of this movie. No means yes. And I think that, I don't know if it was the quality, Ronnie, or what, But yeah, it was just a really slow watch for me. And I got a lot of questions for you coming up. But yeah, I mean, what about you?
It went down a notch, and I agree with you. Meatballs 2 is now my favorite Meatballs movie. It's not that I don't like this movie anymore, but in this particular viewing, and it may change, I was like, you know what? There's a lot of, it's like almost like this was like three different movies. The character of Rudy, that's played by McDreamy. What's his name in real life, Blake?
Tom Ace.
Does he have a name, or should I call him
Patrick
Lawyer?
Dempsey.
Patrick Dempsey is playing Rudy. He's going to meet Bill Murray. Bill Murray, though, has sold his marina and moved on to be some mud wrestling champion coach or some shit like that. And it's the marina's been bought by a biker named Mean Gene, who is waiting on Rudy to get there. He treats Rudy like crap. Rudy's the biggest geek ever. It's almost like I said, this is three different movies because you got the bullies being mean to Rudy and Rudy wanting to get a girl. And then you've got the story of Sally Kellerman, who I think looks like a dog. And she's a porn star who dies on the set of Eat Me Part 2, which some of the best parts of the movie, or one of the best parts of the movie, is they show an alien having sex with her. And in the background, you see the spaceship on a terrible set taking off with like fireworks. And like the alien's having such a good time. He's like, screw them. They can leave me. I'm staying here. She dies, apparently screwed to death, and it's sort of like an uptown, midtown, downtown situation with the heavenly kid. She has to, in her mind, get Rudy laid so that she can get into heaven, though they never actually tell her that. So she is his guardian angel. That's like movie number 2. And then you've got like, it's almost like a teen like romance movie where it's between Rudy and this ugly girl who really likes him. So you've got that. It's like a bunch of mixed match movies. And that's the only thing that I noticed besides like some really terrible acting. Yeah, I think I like part 2 better. I think it's a way better movie, mainly because of the leads and the jokes and the characters in that movie. I think part 3 has its moments. Rudy is good as the nerd. Roxy DeJour is good. Mean Gene is great. All of those guys that play the Ku Klux Klan on the jet skis, they're good. But I think it just falls short. It's got a lot of issues, but it still holds a fondness because of
Nostalgia.
All right. But instead of doing a beginning to end review of this movie, Blake, and instead of doing the good, bad, ugly gimmick, and we can do shades of that, I do want to talk about some certain things first. The love goddess, played by Shannon Tweed. She is upstairs at Mean Gene's bar, Marina, and the whole movie revolves around guys trying to sneak up there to screw her. And Mean Gene always catches them, beats the shit out of them, throws them through the roof and into the water, which is a pretty good gimmick. But Mean Gene also at the very beginning of the movie establishes that this is my squeeze. Nobody needs to look at the squeeze. And then at the end of the movie, when Rudy gets up there, you find out that Mean Gene's actually her brother. So my question to you is, what the hell? Mean Gene's want people to think that's his girlfriend?
Yeah, there's a lot of it that doesn't make sense, Ronnie. I don't get that whole portion of the movie. Like, I just think it should have been him trying to screw every girl there. Like, we didn't need that, what was she called again? The queen or whatever?
The goddess.
We didn't need that whole goddess plot thrown in. Although it did lead to, the stud and some other stuff that I really liked.
Before we get to the stud, because that's my next note, I met Mean Gene at the New Orleans Comic-Con. I was the only, apparently, I've got a picture with him that I'll post up right now because people are not going to believe that I met him. I think I paid $20. Wasn't
he super excited that you brought this movie up because everybody else was asking him about the same old
Everybody else was asking him about X-Men because he's the voice of Beast. So when I walked up and brought up Meatballs 3 and the movie The Brain, he actually said, I'm so glad to be talking about this and that X-Men. But no, Blake, the real reason he was super excited is because I walked up with my wife and he was like, ooh, a lady. That's the reason he jumped up out. This got out of his seat and walked around because my wife was there. I mean, they're all perverts. But anyway, as I was talking to him, my wife's laughing at me. I said, look, man, I got one question for you. How fun was it to film Meatballs 3? And he said, it was a party every single night. He said the surrounding areas would constantly call the law on them because after a full day of recording, they would drink like all night long and people would act stupid and go into people's yards and shit like that. He said people were constantly calling the law on them. They were trying to shut down the movie. He also said they got their hands on some guns and started shooting one night when they were all drunk, and that got the townsfolk all pissed off. So then I followed this question up because I figured he had insight into the script. And I was like, the question I just asked you, Blake, I was like, why did Mean Gene, this is when my wife started laughing at me. I said, why did Mean Gene want everybody to think that the goddess was his wife? And this looked at me, Blake, and he goes, well, that's just the way they wrote it in the script.
Yeah, it's a great answer because it's true.
And I was like, thank you. And I walked off. But anyway, I did get to meet Mean Gene. And you just brought up the Adonis. So all throughout this movie, you've got these bullies. And we'll talk about the bullies here in a minute, Blake, if they're great or if they're whatever. But these bullies are running like a gambling thing where they set up a window like at a horse track and they do the gimmick of how long will this person last before Mean Gene gets them. And they know for a fact that Mean Gene is going to be leaving to go to the devil worshiping seance with the Ku Klux jet skiers. So they plan to rig it so they can win some money. And the one guy goes out and hires Joe Adonis to come in and go up and have sex with the goddess. Joe Adonis shows up in a Cadillac, sitting in the back, cowboy hat, jacked up stud with cadaver teeth, and a bull, Blake. So for the longest time, and I'm going to ask you this, and then you can ask me whatever Adonis questions you have. Is this a situation sort of like Clerks 2, where Joe Adonis's job is he shows up and he fucks that cow in front of people? Or did this idiot bully see stud service in the phone book and he hired Joe Adonis, who brings that bull to impregnate cows? Which one was it?
That's what happened. That's what happened, Ronnie. But I have it in my notes. I was going to ask you if Kevin Smith stole this idea for the Kinky Kelly and the Sexy Stud, if he stole this from Meatballs 3. I'm willing to bet he did.
But this guy shows up and he's got a financial manager, and he goes back to the car and he goes, "These crazy ass kids want to do it in the house." And he goes, "In the house?" And he gets up and he's like 6'5", or he looks 6'5", and he's walking and he goes, "The house?" And he takes another couple of steps. "The house?" And he walks up and they're like, "Hey, you need to get in there." And he's like, "We ain't never done it in no house before. We're going to tear that place apart." And
oh, wow.
that girl's like, "Oh, wow." While all that's going on, Rudy sneaks up and her. And
No, he don't.
the one thing I noticed, Blake, was that your Joe Adonis question about Clerks? Was that it? The one thing I noticed about this movie, Blake, is it looks like, and you may disagree, it looks like the perfect place to spend the summer.
Yeah.
Because Rudy's working on a dock. He's filling up boats with fuel. He is partying every night, or they are partying every night. Every scene of the lake, people are having fun. They've got drunk barges out there that are turning over, boats that have water slides on them, people pulling their bathing suits down and up. It looks like a total party for the entire summer. And I just thought that this movie did a great job of saying, man, I wish I could go to that marina because it looks fun as hell.
Yeah, I was about to, to echo that. I was about to say it makes me miss the times of summer jobs and stuff like that, Ronnie. But apparently that's still a thing because we just recently talked to our boy Shane Emerson, and he got a summer gig where he's doing some fun stuff. So maybe it's not quite like Meatballs 3, but I guess the whole I'm leaving for the summer to go work here, that does exist.
Now, Roxy Du Jour comes back from heaven. And first off, Blake, is there any way a porn star is getting into heaven?
Not a chance.
All right, we agree on that. If you're a porn star, you're definitely not going to heaven. She comes down there because she's probably mentally Yeah. She thinks the way to get into heaven is to get this guy laid. So she's trying to get Patrick Dempsey laid the entire movie. You got the standard shots of her walking around with clothing bags and people looking, doing the double take of, oh, wow, look at that. She gives him horrible advice. She's all go, for him to get laid early on. And then this old woman that works at the concession stand tries to get him. And she goes, you don't need to have sex with her. Then a virgin, she convinces him not to have sex with a virgin. And then she tells him to put a salami in his pants. It gets him called salami when it gets up. Let's go back to the salami scene, Blake. They're having a wet t-shirt contest. So my question about the whole salami thing is during the wet t-shirt contest, a very big up top girl walks up and they spray her. Is she retarded?
Yeah.
Because she doesn't seem to know how to talk. She walks outside after she's crowned the wet t-shirt contest winner, and she falls into the water where she's going to drown. And then she's so thankful about that with Rudy that she decides she's going to give him some. So they go out into the woods, and that's when she finds the salami. And when she pulls the salami out, she's like, what have I done? What have I done? So my question to you is, does she think that she's pulled his dick off because she can't see? Or does she realize she's laid down with somebody that has a sausage stuffed in their pants?
What a great time to be alive and be a teenager. I mean,
what is it?
A retarded person falls in the water and you help them out and they want to screw. I miss it. I really miss it.
Oh, let's talk about these bullies. The movie starts off with Rudy in a diner. And this girl sits down.
I think I made a joke. I'm going to recycle it, Ronnie, because I don't think you remember it. We reviewed this on the audio podcast like 2016, 2017, whenever the show 13 Reasons Why was a big deal. They gave Rudy 13 Reasons Why in the opening scene of why he should kill himself. They ruined this mother effer's life, dude, in 5 minutes. But like, to be fair to the bullies, though, he comes off as like a creepy piece of shit in this diner too. I mean, he's looking at a porno magazine. He's looking at girls saying, "You want?" What's he say? He uses alliteration or something. What's he say, Ronnie? Something about you want shit. You want
baloney.
Yeah, you want dirty. You want
how creepy. Even in 1983, 4, 5, whatever this was. How creepy is it to be sitting in a diner reading a porno mag? That's the definition of serial killer / creep. And this girl comes up and starts flirting with him. And after like 30 seconds of her like heavy flirting, the other bullies come in and go, "Hey, his hard. It took 30 seconds.
Look at him. He's hard."
And then he has to leave out with the entire diner. And we're talking like 80s teen diner. Like there's 500 of these.
It's like the Max at Saved by the Bell. That place is packed out, and he's got to walk out with a heart on.
They're laughing at him. Cut to he's going off for his summer job, and these kids are right back there. Like everybody he hates is at the same marina, and it was already established he got on a bus to go to this job. So it's very fortunate that all the bullies and the people he hates party on the same lake that he's going to be working all summer. There's a scene where he's mopping the deck and the other guy pisses in the mop bucket while he's being distracted. And the girl grabs the mop bucket and dashes it on the main bad guy. And his buddy goes, "My whiz." It was scenes like that where you're like, holy shit, that's terrible. But the fact that the guy got dashed with piss, and instead of beating that guy up, that he has to go jump into the water to get the piss off of him, that was pretty funny.
The problem I have with the character of Rudy in this is in the beginning it's, I got to get laid. But this guy has the opportunity to get laid 4 or 5 times, and I can understand not wanting to do it with the friend girl, even though he should have. I can understand that. He's like, if I do it with her, that's it. That's the best I can get. I'm admitting that's the best I can get, but I don't understand his logic. Like, it should be, hey, I'm going to, break one off in her, get some practice, and then go get some real at this summer camp. you know. But then he has a chance with like some good looking girls and either decides not to or he blows it by doing something stupid. And then like they try to convince us this one lady is in her 50s, even though she looks 25 years younger than Roxy DeJour. She's about to screw him right there on the deck, and he says no. So I mean, it's like
No, he didn't say no. He did not say no. He was telling Roxy DeJour no. He was ready to go with it, and she thought that he was talking to her.
yeah, but like, you know, you'll thank me later, kid. And like he admitted she was right or whatever. But like my point is, don't make him so I gotta have sex if he's not gonna pull the trigger with whoever spreads
That's true.
guy or girl. Now, I get it. We got to go full circle. I get it with the character. We got to go full circle. He's got to realize that that's not what life's all about, even though it is. And this girl who's shown interest in him as a person this whole time is, you know, who he should be interested in. It should be about building a relationship, not just screwing or whatever the shit message becomes.
That might be the most unrealistic thing in this movie is he turned anybody down. And this is a movie where a porn star comes back from heaven to help him. I was going to say Roxy gets into heaven at the end of it, and the first thing she does is get naked and run into the clouds.
I have another problem with Mean Gene. Like, I think we're missing a scene or something, or maybe we didn't think Meatballs 3 through. This whole thing, who can get up there and screw his sister? That's the whole contest, right?
The contest is who can rape the goddess.
Exactly. And the goddess, it's a big reveal. She's actually a genius and up there studying to be, you know, to work for NASA or whatever bullshit they can come up with. No, she's not. She's a hooker. But she's like, I tell you, I think I know a way to help you out with your friends. And they pretend to have sex up there or whatever. Mean Gene fires Rudy. Rudy throws the money down after he says, you shorted me $10, whatever, $5. And then Mean Gene says, should have been 10. He took more money. There's a scene where Mean Gene comes to wherever Rudy's staying, and he's like, Rudy. And it's like, I'm trying to figure out why he's acting like he is, because the sister didn't tell him off. Is he acting like he is because he actually feels bad? Because that doesn't fit with the character. Or is he impressed that he slept with his sister, and it's like he earned his respect by doing that, and he's like, here's the money I owe you. And the scene just ends. Like, there is no shake of the hands. There is no hug. There is no, can I do anything for you? Like, the scene just ends. I don't get it.
So at the end of the movie, Rudy has decided he's going to go conquer the love goddess. The young girl that he ends up, you know, falling in love with goes and tells the devil worshipping Ku Klux jet skiers that they're going to kill the goddess. So they all rush back. And of course, Joe Adonis's bull takes out half of them. But Mean Gene comes into the goddess's room. And like Blake said, it's revealed that the goddess is up there studying for her PhD and Mean Gene's her brother and all that. He comes running in to beat the shit out of Rudy. And it's a chase scene. Rudy's hiding under the bed. It's pretty funny. And then the goddess hits him in the back of the head. It's Mean Gene in the back of the head with a bat and knocks him out. She goes, you know what? That big lug's always had a temper. Now, this is after all summer of him throwing people out her window. And she even scolds Rudy. She goes, you're a part of that stuff outside. So she knows what's going on outside. And she gets her brother to beat their ass. And I think you're right. At the end of the movie, it should have been a better scene between Mean Gene, who has done nothing but awful to Rudy. At one scene, you think they're going to bond. He said, where you going, kid? And he tells him, he goes, well, hop in. I'm going there too. And he gets halfway out to the lake and says, this is as far as I'm going, and makes him swim back in. Funny scenes too. Every time Mean Gene's in the boat, he's running over other people's boats. But at the end of it, Mean Gene shows up at the shithole Rudy's had to stay at the whole time. And his hair's brushed. And he's looking all like sad. And he walks up and goes, here's the money I owe you, Rudy. You did a damn good job. And if you ever want to join the bikers, we'll be proud to tattoo you. I think what happened, Blake, is the goddess has been running the show the entire summer. You know, she's got her brother wrapped around her finger. You know, they're coming in here, make sure you beat their asses. And I think when she hit him over the head with a bat, she set his ass straight about how you should treat Rudy. And that's the reason he had his tail tucked between his legs. And I think it's a little bit of what you're saying too, because I think the fact that he won the battle with Mean Gene is Mean Gene's like, you know what, you're you got more to you than I thought you did. And you can join our, devil worshiping group anytime you want. But I agree with you. I think it should have lasted longer because I think in reality, I remembered the movie, Blake. I remembered Mean Gene giving him like 3 times more than what he should have. Like, here's the money you really should have got this summer. The Mandela effect or whatever they call it, where I remember something better happening than what actually happened at the end of it.
I wish I could have seen Mean Gene's face when you went in depth asking about the story and character, and him just looking at you like, dude, it's Meatballs 3.
Well, I mean, I needed to know. I needed to know, dude. I mean, if you're going to do all this stuff, you got to be ready. I mean, you got to be ready to answer all these questions. That's all I'm saying. Blake, I know we didn't do good, bad, and ugly. Is there anything else you want to talk about? You want to talk about them?
I have 2 favorite lines in the movie. One is by Mean Gene. He says, this is after Rudy kind of had a makeover. He goes, nice threads for a pussy. And the other one you already mentioned at the top of the show. You and I love when the news is shown on TV. We love that. We love news bulletins. We love stuff like that. Porn star Roxy DeJour died today on the set of Eat Me Too. And I effing lost it when he said that. And then he's like, her final words were, oh, baby, oh, God, oh, baby, oh, yes. He's saying this live on the air. And that's just fantastic. To me, that's fantastic.
I loved it, too. I loved that girl invited Rudy over, and then she was doing the guy move. She put a porno on for him to watch.
Yeah.
The fight in the bathroom where he's arguing with Roxy, and the 2 guys are like, I could piss in here. He's like, you need to stop looking at them. And like they start fighting because they're in here, and they start beating the hell out of this one guy because they think he's watching them piss. That's a good scene. I also love the sound effects from this 80s movie. It was like cartoonish sound effects whenever she would use her power, like the guy from Heavenly Kid. But the last note I have here is I really think this could have been a really good movie. I think with, a little touch up here and a little touch up there, Meatballs 3 could have been a really, really iconic 80s teen comedy. I think if they cleared it up, I think we need to get a little bit tighter on the bullies. We need to either make them goofy bullies or we need to make them big time bullies, because he beats their ass 2 or 3 times with Roxy helping throughout the movie. So either they got to be badass bullies and he's got to get back at them by stealing their girl or by just punching one of them. But there was too much back and forth between them being goofy and them being like real mean, kill yourself bullies. The Mean Gene storyline, we already talked about that. I think you needed a little bit more from the goddess, okay? And I think that girl that he ends up liking needs to be a little bit more likable in this movie, because I don't think she was very likable at all. She changed her personality like 15 times over the course of this movie. Other than that, you had all the scenery of an 80s titty movie that you needed. The music, if you paid attention to the music is really good. It's got a really good like opening song that they're playing. Even though I said Meatballs 2 is my favorite Meatballs now, Meatballs 3 is still a great watch. And I can still see myself watching this movie once or twice a year just for nostalgia. I really, really like this movie.
I will say Meatballs is pretty consistent in the franchise with having some really good music and soundtracks in it. Go back and look at my face when you revealed that Rudy is in this movie is supposed to be Rudy from the original. I had no idea that, Ronnie. I had no idea. And I've seen Meatballs 1. I know you haven't. I've seen it. It's Bill Murray's Start or whatever. Another good movie. Another good movie with a great message. No means yes.
I know we didn't do good, bad, and ugly, but who was the ugliest person in this movie to you?
I got to go with Little Beaver, Ronnie. WrestleMania 3. He's a pro wrestler. He's a little person, or as we in the South call, a midget. He's got to be the ugliest sack of shit in this movie, and that's impressive because almost everybody on them jet skis that rolled up with Mean Gene was ugly.
I'm going with Mean Gene as the ugliest person in the movie. There's 2 humans in this movie that looks like dogs, and that's Mean Gene and that's Sally Kellerman. Sally Kellerman was almost the ugliest person in the movie for me. It's a good flick. It's one of those movies that if you like 80s movies, you need to watch Meatballs 3 because it's a summertime movie. It makes you feel good that summer is here. It's great. And it's got a great message too, that no matter what, you got to.
It's true.
Guys, hit us in the comments. What'd you think of Meatballs 3? If you haven't seen it, it's free on YouTube. Go watch it. Me and Blake later down the line this month may actually do a watch along with Meatballs 3. We'll have to see, or maybe I'll get Jay and Tim in on that.
Yeah.
But because every time you like a video, it helps the channel. Subscribe, that helps the channel. What did we get wrong on this review? Were we too tough on it? Were we too easy on it? I know a lot of people that would say this movie, is awful. I couldn't find but like a handful of reviews on YouTube, and I wanted to see how it matched up with what I said, Blake. And most people said this is a piece of shit. Me personally, I think it's a decent movie. It's worth watching. It's not a total waste of time. Hopefully, you get a better copy than what we watched on YouTube. I guess I should have watched my copy on the VCR, Meatballs 3, right there. Anything else, Blake?
Nah, man. Happy June.
Guys, hit us in the comments with any summer movies you want to see us review or talk about. Me and Blake plan to throw out a few more of these reviews, some top 10, some top 5 lists. We're going to try to go live every Friday for Friday the 13th content, but we are thinking, Blake's idea was we're going to put out a Friday the 13th video most Fridays anyway. Why can't we use some of those Friday night live streams to talk about some other stuff? So maybe we'll put out a Friday the 13th video on a Friday, and then that Friday night we talk about something completely different. So make sure you guys hit the bell or enable the bell notifications whenever we go live. You need to know, because it could be morning time, it could be noon, it could be afternoon, it could be night, Blake. Some of us may have just gotten fired and can stream and stream and stream. So set those bell notifications so that you know every time this channel goes live. Anything else, Blake, before we go?
That's all I got, brother. Had a lot of fun watching Meatballs 3 with you, and it's a good movie, and anybody disagrees, I love you, brother.